Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. Well, here we go with a new month and a whole new topic. Victoria, what have you got for us this month?
Okay, remember a couple of sessions back when we talked about creating narrative distance? That's the distance between the reader and their experience and the story and what they're reading or learning in the story world. That's almost kin to a chronotope, which is what I told you we're going to talk about as a means of structure in these episodes. So, what does a chronotope mean? It means chrono is time, topos is space. So it's the time and space orientation that you share with the reader so that you give them a grounding for building the story and understanding the events. Now, originally, this was about historical fiction. It was about grounding the reader in that period of history so authentically that they understood the society and the underlying meanings and therefore the unfolding of the story. For our purposes, however, let's expand that out a little bit. Let's start to think about how we can use the chronotope as a way to get into our story and as a way to help mold that journey for the reader. So first of all, always consider your chronotope as a means to interconnectedness. Think of it as in romance, for example. You may have that scene where it's deep in the night and the young gentleman is bringing the young lady home and the porch light is luckily out and he sneaks that first kiss. Well, that's a very particular orientation in both time and place. That's an example of chronotope in the romance genre. So as you start to wrap your head around what this looks like, let's think through how you can use it. Just the act of methodically constructing time and space gives a huge gift to your reader because you're automatically bringing them into your world. And if you do it on purpose, you're giving that story on a much deeper level, often including different themes and other elements that you want to share that you don't just want to yell from the rooftops and state right out, because your reader is smarter than that. So you don't have to do that, but you can employ chronotope to do it really skillfully and in a cool way that they get to make discoveries. So in a quick example, think of it as an organizing center for your story. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of creating a primary point that allows a scene to unfold, just like in the romance example. What if you choose a particular thing, something that's really popular in older, like Gothic style literature as a chronotope, is the crossroads. Just thinking about it, you get all kinds of cool ideas of things that you can do with a crossroads. It could be foreboding, it could be a point of change, it could be a conflict, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. So crossroads is a great example of a well-used chronotope. So what I want you to do before we come into next week and continue down this journey of how to use it and how to employ it is I want you to think in your own story, either something you're working on or something you're thinking of writing, what's a good chronotope that you could use? What is a time and a place that maybe you could employ as a birthplace for writing one of those great scenes? I'll give you an example that I sketched out for myself, and that is, in my novel, some of the early scenes take place in a museum. What does the chronotope of a museum tell us? Well, I've situated it in the present time, but go deeper. What does a museum represent? It represents order, it represents beauty, it represents an element of formality, it represents an approach in a measured way to things that are worth saving and keeping. Those are all hallmarks of my main female character. So that's how I use the chronotope of a museum and its structure and its environment in order to inform who she is, because that is her chosen place of work. So I'm going to leave you there. Think about a place and time that you can tether together in an interconnected way in order to birth a scene that can help drive a story or a piece of a story forward. That's your challenge. With that, I'm going to throw it over to Kathleen.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Victoria. Chronotope. I love that word. I like learning new words. Thank you. And you made it make a lot of sense, so I appreciate that. Well, here we are in the month of December, and we are going to be talking about the character trait of sincerity. Now, sincerity is a particularly good character trait to talk about in December because Remember when we were kids and we knew we had to be very good little boys and girls in order for Santa Claus to visit us? Because didn't mom and dad threaten that if you weren't good, you weren't going to get any presents this year? Well, sincerity is very much about being very, very good in that sense of how you behave towards others. Sincerity is being very, very true to who you are. It's very much involved in the truth as represented to other people. And it's more than just the truth. It's about being square with your heart with other people. And it's a little bit interesting because the truth is involved. And so you immediately think of honesty. And in fact, many times people say, well, what is sincerity? Sincerity is being honest. Well, then what's honesty? Honesty is being sincere. Wait a minute. We just went in a loop. So that's why we have to break it apart a little bit. Yes, honesty is about being honest with yourself because it's a balance trait. So it's about you treating yourself with honesty, you facing up for yourself with a square evaluation of where have you been, what have you done, what did you contribute to a situation. So suppose something didn't go very well and you're back home and you're thinking about it. Honesty would say, okay, now what did I contribute to that? And honesty is about your character facing himself with his own behavior. Sincerity is that relationship component where your character is opening themselves up to another person. Now, okay, we have another component is listed there, opening up, because sincerity again feels a little bit like a balance trait again, because how much do you open up? How soon do you open up? How much is appropriate to open up? You see? And that almost feels like a balance trait in itself. So it's really kind of a gateway between the balance traits and the empathy traits. So you can see why it's confusing, but there's a simple way of knowing that you're dealing with sincerity when you've got two people communicating. All right. And it's also very much related to intent. It's possible that your character will have some misbeliefs about themselves, but if they truly convey their misbelief to another person, that's still sincere. They did not intend to deceive. That is sometimes another way that you can come at understanding sincerity. Does your character intend to deceive? If your character intends to deceive, we're definitely talking about the character trait of sincerity, but you're not in a victory state, are you? Well, we won't go too much in that direction until next week when we talk about the voices and the positions on the character profile diagram. But it does help in figuring out the difference between sincerity and honesty. Is there a deception possible between two people? If it's possible, then you're also dealing with the character trait of sincerity. All right, so what I'd like for you to do this week, as you think about it, think back in your life and think about your experiences where you have encountered sincerity. Maybe you've witnessed a conversation and you know both of those people, and you know one of those people isn't telling it exactly like it happened. There's the case of you witnessed something that was not quite so sincere. Or maybe you witnessed somebody being very, very sincere and the other person not being the slightest bit interested. Oh, that's sad. It's still sincerity, but it might not be welcome. And now we're getting into the boundaries of appropriateness, which again, we're not going to go too much there. We're going to save something for next week. But keep in mind, I want you this week to think about what experiences have you had in your life? What scenes have you seen? What have you read? What have you watched in a very particularly poignant movie or play that relates to the concept of sincerity so that you can get your hands on it and see if you can compare it to honesty and make that distinction so that when you write, your reader can react appropriately. Because what we do in our kind of style of writing, we set up the scene. And if we set up the scene accurately, your reader will catch the emotions without you having to say, and this is how they felt. The reader will know it from the scene. All right, so that is your assignment for today. Anything to add to that, Victoria?
Oh, this is fantastic. As always, we just fit perfectly together. And guys, we really don't plan this out. It just works every time, which is number one, a fantastic testament to why thinking about both story development and character development together in concert is a great way to build out a story, one and then the other, one and then the other. But the thing that I find really exciting about this is thinking about your character's intent. So thinking that through, it can reveal character to the reader. It can reveal motive to the reader. It can be a development in your character's arc. I mean, there's a million things. Just deeply considering the intent of a character and whether they're landing within that realm of sincerity or not. And then even more importantly, Kathleen mentioned witnessing the scene. Think about things that you've encountered, things that you've thought about, actual events and how they affected you. Not only are you considering what happened in terms of sincerity, but also consider the chronotope of it. Are the time and the place relevant to what you witnessed? And did they add to or take away from in any significant way how you experienced that? Because I would venture to guess either the time and or the place may contribute to how you perceive that event. So lots of good stuff here. But hey, Kathleen, if people wanted to find out more, where would they go?
They would come to LiLLiPub.org. LiLLiPub is where we hang out when we're not here on YouTube. And boy, oh boy, do we have some good stuff. All during the month of November, we've been gathering experiences, and Victoria has a surprise for us over in LiLLiPub if you have participated. So don't forget to stop by in November and post your writing. We meet every Saturday, and we will be delighted to share with you what we're doing and read what you're doing and help you with your writing. See you over there. Bye-bye.